Good afternoon, New Independence Network, back again. Hey, we've had some problems with uploading to the YouTube channel for some strange reason, so we're backlogged, and hopefully we can get this uploaded pretty quickly. Some previous episodes will be coming up after this one, but I wanted to get this in there today because it's pretty important, and we're talking about Milwaukee. I've had enough of the BS with this crap. I've had enough of the game of the blaming white people and blaming police for everything. What you have, this is what people don't understand. What you have now is basically what the Democrats and radicals had in the 60s. This is what they had. They had riots, they had turmoil, they had unrest, and what that did is it kept black Americans off balance. See, blacks were they were integrating into society just fine. They had nice neighborhoods, they were raising their kids, no issues, no problems. But then the Democrats realized, hey, look, we have to do something to get the blacks to vote more Democrat than Republican because we're losing them. And we have to try to use minorities as we have in the past, because Democrats are the party of racism. Now, those of you who have seen Hillary's America, it matches what we've been saying and what I've been saying 100%. Democrats use black people to get votes. They use black Americans to get votes. When they were when it was before the Civil War, the Democrats owned the slaves. And I'm not going to go into the full history of it. Right? You can look that up, but don't believe the BS where they say the Democrats they switched over, they became Republicans, because that's not the truth. There was only one Democrat segregationist that switched over to a Republican, and that was Strom Thurmond after the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Every single one, and their constituents, the bulk of their constituents, all stayed Democrat. I mean, Robert Byrd, Grand Kleagle of the KKK, he was a Democrat senator and a lead senator for like over 30 years. A career senator, elected time and again. He was a huge segregationist. How about Al Gore Sr., Al Gore's father? He and Byrd fought viciously against the 1964 Civil Rights Act and the 1965 Voting Rights Act. So the racism is there. It's permeated throughout the party. I mean, Lyndon Johnson was even overheard by two staffers, two senators who were on the plane of the Air Force One with him when he was talking about the Great Society plan that he had, the quote-unquote Great Society plan that he had. And he's saying, I will have N-words voting for me for the next 200, voting Democrat, I'm sorry. I will have N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years. Now, what did he mean by that? Let's explain it. The Great Society plan threw billions of dollars into inner city communities. It gave tenements to people. It put them in tenements, blacks and minorities in tenements. It created a society where you're going to throw money at the problem to get them beholden to the government so they won't work as hard. So if we throw a bunch of money at there and saying, hey, look, we're helping you out, then they'll say, oh, great, we're good. Well, the minute you give somebody something free, like a free house or a cheap house, paid for by someone else, guess what? They destroy it. They don't care for it because they didn't work to earn it. If you give money to people and they don't earn it, they don't appreciate it, especially if you give them a lot more money than they've ever seen in their life. That's why lottery winners lose their winnings all the time, because they did not work to earn it. They're irresponsible. When you work to earn money and you have no money, and then you have money over a period of time of hard work, you start to really develop an appreciation for money. You know what it's like to be poor. You know how hard you had to work to have wealth. And now that you have wealth, you don't want to lose that wealth, and you will work extra hard to ensure you don't lose that wealth. That is, I call that art from adversity, if you want to call that. Advancement from adversity is another way of looking at it. You have adversity and then you advance from it. You learn from it. It's a big deal. Giving people money in the inner cities did not help them at all. It made them beholden to the government. Think about it if you've ever seen the movie Brewster's Millions, a Richard Pryor movie, a remake of one from previously. I think it came out in the 50s or 60s before that. Brewster's Millions is a man whose uncle is a multi-billionaire. He leaves, or multi-millionaire, he leaves $300 million to his last living heir, who happened to be Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor has to spend, but he wants to teach him to be so sick of spending money that he doesn't want to spend it again. Well, it's kind of reverse. If you're giving people a lot of money, like I said, they're not going to appreciate it, and they're just going to spend it because it's not my money. It comes from someone else. I'm just going to spend it. And there you go. So people in the inner cities who got all this money, they're like, okay, cool, the government did it. Now the government has them. The Democrats who gave them the money can say, look what we did. We gave you freebies. We created welfare, and and here's food stamps. This is all stuff that we want to give you. We're doing this for you. This is all for you, so you can get freebies from us. You got to vote Democrat to get more freebies. That's where I compare Democrats to drug dealers. They are drug dealers and they're plantation owners. They're one and the same. Here's my explanation on drug dealers. You go up to a drug dealer trying to buy some drugs. Drug dealers will see, have you ever had any drugs before? No. Here you go. Here's a dime bag, a real cheap bit of pot. The pot is a gateway drug. It'll get you addicted to bigger and bigger drugs because you want a bigger and bigger high. So you say, here's a freebie. Take a little bit of this and try it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you think. You take that drug and you like it. And you say, I'm going to take that and I'm going to get more because I need that fix. That fix is awesome. I like the fix. So you go back to the drug dealer and say, hey, man, can I get some more of that? And they go, well, yeah, but it's going to cost you $300 an ounce or $1,000 an ounce now. So you better get that money, and then they'll do whatever they can to get their fix because they like the way it feels. They like the way it feels to be stoned, right? So consider the government. They go to black Americans and minorities, and they'll say, here, man, here's welfare. Here's Social Security. Here's free money. What do you think? Oh, this is great, man. I can save money on my groceries. I can use the rest of this welfare money. I could buy stuff even though I don't really need it. I mean, I drive by inner cities on a regular basis. And I'll drive by and I'll see homes, run-down, ramshackle houses that have satellite dishes, that have nicer cars than I have, but the house is a mess. Because they don't care. They can buy all the little DVD players and flat screen TVs and all that good stuff because they get all this extra money. That's more than they're going to earn if they get a regular job. But they're not doing any work and giving anything back to society. And they're not paying taxes. So we're giving money to minorities and poor people. Now, some people really need welfare. But we're talking about the ones in the inner city who really don't. A lot of them don't. And the whole reason they did that is we gave them the money. Democrats gave them, not we, Democrats, the country, Democrats gave them the money, and they said, this is really cool, man. I got all this free stuff. Then they go back to the government and say, hey, man, can I get some more of that? And they say, well, yeah, sure. Democrats say, sure you can, but you can't vote Republican because they're going to want you to actually work. We want to give you the freebies. And if you want the freebies and you want to get free stuff without having to work, then you got to keep voting Democrat. Democrats say, or blacks say, that's a good idea. Minorities too. They're trying to do it with the Muslims now too. Syrian refugees. They're trying to make them beholden to the Democrats. That's why Hillary is sucking up to Syrians and to Muslim refugees so much. That's why she's sucking up to them, parading Muslims around and praising Muslims all the time because the same reason Obama is. Because they're the next flood of minorities to hit this country. The first flood, we had the blacks who were brought here. Granted, Muslims were the ones, a little history here, Muslims in the 1600s were the ones who rounded up slaves and sold them to Dutch slave owners. Just keep that in mind. Muslims were the ones that did it. They actually worked with the African leaders to round up their own people, and then they sold them. Just to let you know. But the first round of minorities that were really brought into the country were blacks. The next round of minorities were Hispanics. That's the next batch. So they worked on them all through the 80s into the 90s. Now you got Hispanics galore who just absolutely love it. And then they conned Ronald Reagan into doing amnesty in 1986. That was a big, ridiculous mistake. You know, Ronald Reagan did a lot of great stuff, but I don't agree with the amnesty thing at all. But then again, amnesty was supposed to include deportation back then, and it didn't. Democrats said, "Oh, we got him. Now we got him." He fell for it. And he did. He fell for that. He got rooked. Just like anybody who votes for an amnesty bill now, that includes the fact that we're going to build a wall or build a fence. The money has already been there. It's already been approved. Democrats won't allow that to happen. They're going to block that every way they possibly can because they want those minorities to come into the country. Then they can offer them freebies, free welfare, free food stamps, Social Security, free schooling. That's the next one. Free college, free education on our tax dime. Offer them the freebies, get them locked in and dependent upon the Democrat government. Because Republicans say you could do it yourself. Conservatives specifically say you can work hard. Take the obstacles out of the way so you work. Well, they don't want to hear, I want to work. You hear these clowns? We need money. The rich people have to give us this money. This guy with this one recorder. These rich people need to give us that money. We're struggling. Well, work your ass off. You'll get your friggin' money, but work. Stop being such a coward. But that's what they are. A bunch of babies who are reliant upon, I'm not saying they're all victims, they allow themselves to be victims. These fools that are destroying their neighborhoods, they're allowing themselves to be the victims. They're allowing the Democrats to run roughshod over them. They like the freebies. They want to be lazy. Look, there are a lot of black Americans that work really, really hard. And I feel bad for those because they're now pigeonholed into the same mold of these other clowns who act like animals. It puts them all in a bad light. It's like if you were a tall, blonde-haired guy, a tall, 6'5", tall, blonde-haired guy, and you had a society of those people. Or let's even better, let's go with Italians. How many Italians were considered mafia or related to or compared to mafia just because they're Italian? That's what stereotypes come from. Well, guess what? They're doing these morons, these monsters are doing the exact same thing that happened, that caused the Italians to be considered all mafiosa or gangsters. The same thing, but worse. Because at least the mob actually gave something back to society. These people just want to take. Keep taking and not giving anything back. At least the mob worked for their money, even though a lot of it was illegal gains, they still worked. These people don't want to work. They're a bunch of animals. And it's because of the Democrats who give them freebies. And if you don't buy it, you know what? You're stupid. Because the fact of the matter, you're absolutely stupid if you don't see this. No, they're just disenfranchised. They're just disenfranchised. It's difficult. They're being held back by the man. No, they're not. They've been fine for a long, long time. Until the Great Society Plan. Because Democrats were losing control of black Americans and losing the vote. So they had to get them back on their side. And how do you do that? By giving them freebies and making them dependent upon the Democrats. That's exactly what they did. And a lot of black Americans fell for it hook, line, and sinker. That's why your inner cities are a mess. So what happens is you have inner cities that are flooded with black Americans. Okay? They come in and the blacks take over. They take all they take over the housing. They have all the housing. They get crammed into one society and then they start to move more and more move in because we get freebies, we get free stuff, and then more and more move in. Okay? Now, you have cities that have a heavy black population. Okay? There are some that work hard. There are a lot that don't. They have a heavy black population, and what happens? They start electing black elected leaders. Okay? Democrats who are minorities. All these cities that are getting destroyed, Baltimore, Charleston, was it Charleston? Anyway, Baltimore, Philly, New York, Milwaukee, all these towns, Baton Rouge, Democrat-led. Democrat leaders. And a lot of them black. Look at Baltimore. Everybody's black. Like every single leader is black. So how can you say that they're helping their own? Because they're not. And the president of the United States, who 98% of black Americans voted for, 98%, twice, 2 different elections, 2008 and 2012. What has he done for black America? Nothing. But they promised the world. You had people who were thinking that he was going to pay their rent or pay their mortgage or pay for their gas. There's a woman who actually said that. I won't worry about my mortgage, I won't worry about my gas. Yeah. They thought Obama was going to do it because more promises, more freebies. We're going to take care of it. We're going to give you everything you need. You don't have to worry about it. Government, take care of it all. And they got their Obama phones, and they got more food stamps, because Obama is the food stamp president. There's nothing racist about that. It's a fact. Because not just blacks are on food stamps, are they? No. The fact that you're saying, the fact that people say, I think Newt Gingrich called Obama the food stamp president. And the fact that people said, the liberal media, the DNC media, the fact that they said, that's racist. Right there is actually racist, because you're assuming that all people, the only people on food stamps, or the majority of people on food stamps, are black Americans. Wait a second now. Everybody's got food stamps. Poor people get them. Other minorities get them. Why is it considered racist, though? Because that's how Democrats see things. Democrats see everything through a prism of race. It's all about what color are you first. Now, based on the color of your skin, can we use you to help our political careers? And that's exactly what they do. They use blacks, they use Hispanics, they use Latino, now they're going to use Muslims to better their careers. That's what they want to do. Get them to vote for them so they can get freebies. We'll give you more freebies, more free stuff. More free stuff. We already gave you free phones. We started with free, we gave you welfare. We gave you food stamps. You got Social Security. Hey, wait a minute. We're going to give you phones now. Want free phones? Yeah, free phones. What about all those programs for internet for the inner cities? Remember those? The tax that it was going to have, the gas tax on the 4 cent per gallon gas tax passed in 1998 by Clinton that would provide computers for inner city schools. We're giving them more stuff. Well, they need it. No, they don't if you give them elected leaders who are responsible. But the minute you have an inner city who does not police itself, then they lose all rights to free stuff or to help. You have to police yourself first. I was in my neighborhood. Right? We have a good mix of white and black population, heavily black population over here, right? Not a problem. People just want to work. The knuckleheads that came in, who wanted to cause trouble, who came from bad cities and tried to start anew, but brought the riffraff with them, yeah, we leaned on them pretty heavily as a population to make sure they got out, because these are people here who want to work. You still have the occasional straggler, and then some of these people will bring their friends over who think this is just, any other inner city, which it's not. It's a nice neighborhood. Guy sitting in his driveway at 1:30 in the morning, doors wide open in his truck, boom, 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 boom. Getting that damn hip-hop going, big beam, big beats, big bass line, right? Boom, boom, boom. And I hear it. I walk downstairs. I'm trying to sleep. I walk downstairs, and there's a woman, a black woman, a couple doors down from me. She's sitting there in her driveway, looking around in her car, trying to find something. I walk past her, walk to this gentleman, and say, "Can you do us a favor? It's 1:30 in the morning. Can you turn that down?" "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry." So he turns it down. Okay, so he's respectful. Good. He turned it down. Looked like he was drunk, sitting in his car, I guess trying to decide whether he wanted to drive home or not. I'm walking back and go to this woman who's rooting through her car, and I said, "Why didn't you say something to this person? You've been out here this whole time." And she said, "Oh, I don't want to get involved with that. I keep to myself." And there's your problem. I don't want to get involved. I keep to myself. People in the neighborhood, in a lot of inner cities do this. This is a cultural thing. They will not say a word to stop the violence happening in the neighborhood. They won't rat out drug dealers. They won't rat out gangbangers. They won't rat out hookers or violent criminals or anybody who does anything wrong, because they don't want to be considered a rat. They want to keep to themselves so they don't have to face the repercussion of their actions. And that's just pure fear. That's when you have the criminals having the people in the neighborhood so scared, it's the inmates running the asylum. And if you can't rat out your own neighborhood, the cops aren't going to come in and put a stop to it. It's very simple. You just tell them, hey man, this is the cops. Can you come over and check this out? Keep it anonymous. I don't want to give my name. Okay. And the cops show up. You don't have to tell them where you live. Just tell the cops. Cops will come up and stop it. And the more the cops show up, which is what we did around here, the more the cops show up, the more the knuckleheads go, well, we can't get away with this crap in this neighborhood. Never mind. I don't want to be around the police too long. And they leave. And there you go. But inner cities don't police themselves. They don't want to take care of themselves. And a big part of that is because they have gotten lazy. Thank you, Democrats. You've taken a class of people who wanted to work hard, who struggled past slavery, who Republicans primarily and Northerners fought and died to save. Right? We fought a war to save them, to free them. You had you had so many black Republican congressmen after liberation, after emancipation. So many. There's a video on that out there. I may have a link to it. It's fantastic. You had all these people who were black Americans, who were former slaves, who were Republicans. And they wanted to work hard. And they fought through all that. They fought through all of that. A huge uphill battle. A huge obstacle to fight against. But they fought against it with the help of Republicans, Northerners, who fought hard, helped them to get started. They got into neighborhoods. They worked their asses off to become like everybody else. And they were just regular people until the Great Society. And then everybody started to, you owe this and you owe that. And the Democrats saw it and said, hey, look, we can really use this. And the more turmoil we create now, the better. So you have Democrats on top of that. They're going back to their heyday of the 60s. It was great. Remember that when we used to riot? We fought the man. Yeah, that's it. And Obama his fingerprints are all over it. As is Hillary Clinton. Her fingerprints are all over it. They're all one and the same. They want this. I said it long. I was hoping I was not telling the truth. I hope I was blowing smoke. But it turns out I may not have been. I said, there's going to be race wars. Before Obama's done, there's going to be race wars, because this is what he wants. He wants to turn the races against each other. And really, it's the blacks being turned against the whites because they're allowing it to happen. They keep perpetuating this division. And the reason they perpetuate the division is specifically to use black Americans to convince them that, and here's how it's going to work. They convince the blacks that they have to rise up. They have to look at all the movies that have been coming out. Now the newest one is wait to see when this gets released. Just wait. It's called. They took the name "Birth of a Nation." That was the original. That was one of the earliest silent films made about the Ku Klux Klan and the whole bit. It's a very racist movie. And they flipped it. They've renamed it. This is called Birth of a Nation. Now it's the Black Uprising in 1831, which didn't really go very well. The black slaves uprose, and it didn't go very well because we had to fight a war to stop slavery. They couldn't do it themselves. But I give them credit for trying. I mean, I'll give you props there, but here's the deal. I guarantee you, here's what I guarantee. I guarantee, and I'll be shocked, there's not going to be many, if any, white sympathetic figures in this movie. It's designed to kind of reshape history, to kind of tell the story that, and they may not have been any white sympathetic figures because they were in the South rising up against slave owners, who were Democrats, by the way, Democrats, mind you, Democrat slave owners, but they're trying to rise up against them to fight back. Well, it's going to be portrayed as a way just to keep inflaming racism in this country. It's not going to teach history. It's going to be a bunch of black Americans kicking ass, or slaves, I should say. Back then, they were just slaves, black slaves, but they were slaves. They weren't Americans yet, for the most part. They were, but they weren't. I think they were like 1/3 of a person, something along those lines. Either way, they're going to rise up and cause turmoil. Now, people are going to see this movie, and they're not going to see it for a historical telling of it. It's going to be sensationalized, because most historical movies are. Otherwise, history by itself is very boring. If you look at history, if you evaluate history and read about it on its merits, it's very boring. Sensationalized history is interesting. So they're going to sensationalize this. And what it's going to do is going to stir up some more turmoil, and you're going to have people who are getting more pissed off at white Americans, and they're going to say, we're going to kick their ass, we're going to get them back. That's right. This happened in 1831, almost 300 years ago. But it's going to happen. You mark my words, I'll be shut. Not everybody, but there will be some people, some morons who take this at face value and say, yeah, that's it. This is what it's all about, man. And the Democrats will love it. It's going to win awards at the Oscars. It's going to have praise lavished upon it. Next year's Oscars are going to have a ton of black nominees, because they're going to, Jesse Jackson and the rest scream bad injustice, because God forbid this, you don't have a lot of black nominees one year. Oh, it's terrible, it's racism. Well, look, man, I'm not, that's Hollywood, buddy. That's your liberals. Those are your libs. Your liberals are the ones that if they're racist, then you're blaming the liberals. And guess what, liberals? All Democrats, baby. Your liberals are Democrats. So what are you saying? Democrats are racist? There's a shocker for you. Yeah, Democrats are racist. Put 2 and 2 together, man. It makes sense. But this is what's going to happen. They reshape history, so they're trying to gin everything up. Okay? So now what they want to do is they want turmoil. They want turmoil. They want to get this back to the 60s. They want that upheaval. Because here's how they're going to play it. They're going to get the blacks all ginned up. All right, black Americans getting all used and ginned up. Again, I'm not besmirching all black Americans, because there are so many that work so hard. It's the few that don't work hard, the few that are animals and morons who don't have any respect. They're the ones that cause a terrible name for the rest. It just really aggravates the hell out of me. Because I used to serve. Most of my troops were minorities, and they were great. They worked hard. Like any other person, there's a couple that are lazy knuckleheads. It doesn't matter what race they were. If you didn't do your job, you didn't do your job, and we whooped your ass for it. It's just how it is. It's simple. But they're going to gin them up, get them all fired up. So all these knuckleheads are going to get all, yeah, we got to strike back. We got to strike back fight. And then here's what's going to happen. So the only way, and the Democrats will say this, the only way we can help you out, I'll speak like Obama, since he's the voice of the racist Democrats. Only way it can be helped is to turn to the government. We can help you. We can fix this. We can fix it. We take over your police, and no matter what the courts say, we're going to say they're racist. No matter what the studies are, we're going to say that they're racist, and we're going to fix it. That's what we do. So you believe in us, and we'll take care of you. And the knucklehead black American, yeah, that's right. Democrats will do it, man. Obama's going to help us out, man. Somebody ignored us for the last 8 years and didn't do anything for us, and we're dying over here. That's okay. He'll help us now. But then here's the next step. You're going to have white Americans who start getting scared. This is what they're hinging. This is what the Democrats are hoping for. They want white Americans scared. So when it comes time to vote, when the white Americans are so scared, Hillary's doing it now. We don't need to have war. We need peace. And I'm the one to bring everybody together. I'm going to make this a unified country. Hillary Clinton. She's going to say that. Beulah Ballbreaker over there. She's going to say that. I can do this. We don't need division. We don't need fear. We need love. And the white Americans who are so scared will turn to Democrats. And they're going to say, yeah, Democrats can help us because they said they can help us. Yeah, but they started the whole thing, guys. Yeah, but now they can help us. But they started the whole thing. They caused the whole problem. But they can help us now. Just like Obamacare. Hey, they're the ones that are causing all the problems. The economy is a mess. Because why? Democrats aren't fixing it. They're not gonna. But they want you to think they're going to fix it. And then they're going to get you scared and you have to panic. And, oh my God, I got to vote for Democrat because. And that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. So they're going to use the black Americans. They're already using them now. They're using the blacks to get all fired up And the Black Lives Matter is basically a terrorist organization that's used to move people, to push people to the extreme. It started with the cops being shot in Dallas, and it's going to go further and further. Instead of Obama coming out saying, stop it, don't do this anymore, this is ridiculous, listen to me, I'm your leader, and you should listen to me. But he won't do that. He's first to say, well, cops are racist too, so people are just upset, and they're going to act out. Yeah, so he's giving them a pass and saying, yeah, you can act out. And then they're going to act out. So they're going to get all fired up. They're going to cause problems. They're going to start killing people. Now they're going to go after white people, beating down white people for no reason. For no reason, just because they're aggravated, right? And the whites are going to get scared, and they're going to turn to the Democrats. It's no surprise. This is happening now. Trust me, it's going to get worse and worse as we get toward the election. It's going to get worse and worse. Something's going to happen, and the Democrats are going to use it to as much as they possibly can. We're the only ones that can save you. We're the only ones. That's what they're hoping for, to get votes. So there you have it. I mean, this is where you have this is all part of the Democrat plan. They don't care. They really, the radicals, your liberals do not care how long it takes to shape this country. They don't want to fix it overnight. They want it to become a cultural thing. They want it woven in to the fabric of society. If it takes 40, 50 years, they look for the long term. They look for the long term. That's what they worry about. It's just like global warming. They say, in 50 years, in 100 years, because Democrats always go long term. Will it happen? With climate change and global warming, that's all fraud. But they like to say, they always think long term. So they're thinking long term. Listen, we got to take our time. If we do this, maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not in 10 years, 20, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, we'll own it. Even Lyndon B. Johnson said, I will having N-words vote for me vote for Democrats for 200 years. I will have N-words voting Democrat for 200 years. That's the plan, kids. That's the truth and the plan of it all. And they don't care. They don't care how long it takes. They don't care how many lives it destroys. It started with Clinton. All the interweaving of PC. We had all that PC stuff started under Clinton. It started there, and it's continued, and it's grown. And there was a little blurb in the road, a little bump in the road with Bush, a little hurdle. But again, 2 weeks after 9/11, they started spinning their web once again. Like I said, a frog in a pot of boiling water. They're going to slowly turn up the put a frog in a pot of boiling water. He'll jump right out because it's too hot. Put a frog in a regular pot of water and slowly turn up the heat. The frog will boil to death without moving because it doesn't even realize it's cooking to death. And that's what the Democrats are doing. And we have to stop it. The only way to stop it is to vote them out of office. So it's tough. It's going to be a tough one to fight because they're interwoven, man. And the rest of us who are out there who don't want to buy into this crap, we're just working. We're working and struggling and fighting, trying to stay alive. And the rest of these clowns who don't have to work because the government takes care of everything that they own, pays for their houses, pays for their food, pays for their rent, pays for their clothing, pays for their phones, all those, pays for their Medicare, pay for their college. That's coming up next. All those people, they don't have to work. So what do? They stay home all day and they have time to sit there and listen to BS, listen to propaganda. They don't have to work. They can go out there and protest and riot and destroy their towns and destroy their cities and scream and freak out, while the rest of us, we're too busy working to try to do anything about it. So what do? That's a tough one. Republicans need to pull their head out of their asses because they don't know what the hell they're doing. The GOP, they've been trying to get along for so long, they have no clue. And the rest of us are going to have to suffer for it because they don't care. They're making $175,000 a year off of our tax dollars. They're living large, getting hundreds of thousands from lobbyists and speaking fees. They're living large, every single one of them, because they could care less what happens to us until the tax dollars dry out. When the tax dollars dry out, they'll just tax more. But then when they're all gone, what happens? Then what? then we have a collapse. Then we have Venezuela. Then we have Venezuela on a very grand scale. So, this is what you get from Democrats, folks. If you want, spread the word. Tell your friends. The only way we can do it is tell our friends. Spread the word and tell everybody. This is what Democrats do. Pound it, pound it, pound it. They will pound lies all the time until people believe them. Well, we have to pound the truth. You just keep pounding it to everybody you possibly can. Facebook, Twitter, individually, over and over and over again. This is what it's all about. You share this with people. Let them listen to this. Yeah, it's long, but I'm speaking nothing but truth. You can't fix history with a soundbite. It takes dialogue and time and effort. So, okay, there's my update for today. I recorded this on a Sunday to get it out there quickly, so it is timely with this nightmare that's going on. And if please feel free to comment, and we'll keep you updated with some more. This is New Independence Network. Have yourselves a great rest of the weekend and a great week.